Arthur Chen was 72 years old, sharp mind, retired accountant, walked 3 miles every morning. For 8 years, he took his calcium and vitamin D religiously. His bone density? Perfect. His doctor called him a model patient. Then came the chest pain. The echocardiogram revealed something terrifying. Arthur's aortic valve had turned to stone, calcified, rigid, unable to open properly. He needed emergency open-heart surgery. Here's what haunts me about Arthur's case. He did everything right. He followed his doctor's advice. He took the supplements he was told to take. And those same supplements were slowly building a prison inside his heart. After 23 years as a cardiac surgeon, I've seen this pattern hundreds of times. Patients with perfect bones and calcified arteries, strong spines and stone heart valves. Nobody told them the truth about vitamin D supplementation. A groundbreaking 2023 study from Maastricht University tracked over 12,000 adults for 11 years. They discovered something that shocked the cardiology world. Adults taking vitamin D without specific partner nutrients had a 67% higher rate of arterial calcification. Not a small increase. We're talking 2/3 more calcium buildup in their blood vessels. The Rotterdam Heart Study confirmed this finding. Over 4,800 participants, 10 years of follow-up. The data was clear. Vitamin D alone isn't safe after 60. Today, I'm revealing the 7 critical mistakes turning your vitamin D supplements into a slow-acting poison. Stay with me because number 1 will shock you. Researchers initially laughed at the findings. Then they saw the autopsy results. Before we dive in, drop a comment below. Tell me your age and how long you've been taking vitamin D. I read every single comment. This helps me understand who needs this information most. Quick note. Everything I share is backed by peer-reviewed research, but always talk to your healthcare provider before making changes. Your individual situation matters. Let's get into this. Number 7, taking vitamin D without checking your baseline levels first. This sounds basic, almost too simple to mention, but a 2024 survey from the National Institutes of Health found something disturbing. 78% of adults over 60 taking vitamin D supplements have never had their levels tested. Not once. They're flying blind. Imagine filling your car with gasoline, but you have no fuel gauge, no warning light, no way to know if the tank is empty or overflowing. You might be running on fumes, or you might be pouring fuel all over the ground. Either way, you're wasting money and creating problems. Vitamin D blood levels work the same way. Let me tell you about Dorothy Williams, a 68-year-old retired nurse from Minneapolis. Dorothy's friend told her to start taking vitamin D. Good for bones, right? So Dorothy bought a bottle of 5,000 IU and started taking it every morning for 2 years. She never got tested, never checked her baseline, never monitored her progress. When Dorothy finally came to see me for unrelated heart palpitations, I ordered a comprehensive panel. Her vitamin D level was 93 nanograms per milliliter. That's nearly double the upper limit of optimal. Her calcium levels were elevated too. Early signs of hypervitaminosis D, vitamin D toxicity. The symptoms she thought were just aging, the fatigue, the confusion, the frequent urination, all signs of vitamin D excess. Here's what Dorothy should have done. Step 1. Get a 25-hydroxy vitamin D blood test before starting any supplement. This is the standard test. Cost about $50 without insurance. Step 2. Know your numbers. Below 30 nanograms per milliliter means deficient. 30 to 40 means insufficient. 40 to 60 is optimal. Above 80 is excessive. Step 3. Retest every 6 months while supplementing. Adjust your dose based on actual levels, not guessing. Dorothy's doctor never mentioned testing. Most doctors don't. A 2023 survey found only 12% of physicians routinely check vitamin D levels before prescribing supplements. That's a problem we can fix starting today. But testing is just the foundation. Wait until you hear about number 6. This mistake affects 93% of vitamin D users, and most have no idea it's happening. Number 6. Taking vitamin D without adequate magnesium. Betty Morrison was 65, recently retired elementary school teacher. Her doctor found her vitamin D level at 18 nanograms per milliliter, severely deficient. He prescribed 5,000 IU daily, standard protocol. Within 2 weeks, Betty's heart started fluttering. Irregular beats, pounding in her chest while sitting quietly. Then came the leg cramps, 3 a.m., screaming in pain, calf muscles locked in spasm. Betty was convinced she was allergic to vitamin D. She wasn't. Betty was magnesium deficient, and the vitamin D was draining her already low magnesium stores to dangerously low levels. Here's the mechanism, and this is important. Think of vitamin D as a beautiful, expensive lamp. Gorgeous brass finish, designer shade. You plug it in and flip the switch. Nothing happens. The lamp doesn't turn on. Why? Because there's no light bulb. Vitamin D is that lamp. Magnesium is the light bulb. When you swallow vitamin D, it's inactive. Your liver and kidneys must convert it to the active form. Both conversion steps require enzymes, and those enzymes require magnesium to function. Without sufficient magnesium, vitamin D just sits there, unable to work, like an expensive lamp without a light bulb. A 2024 meta-analysis from Copenhagen University analyzed 37 studies, over 90,000 participants total. They found that magnesium deficiency reduced vitamin D effectiveness by up to 52%. More than half the supplement was wasted. But it gets worse. The conversion enzymes don't just need magnesium, they consume it. When you take high-dose vitamin D, those enzymes work overtime. They pull magnesium from your muscles, bones, anywhere they can find it. Your magnesium stores, already low in most people, get depleted rapidly. The result? Heart palpitations from unstable electrical activity, muscle cramps from calcium getting stuck in contracted muscle fibers, anxiety, insomnia, fatigue, all blamed on other causes when the real culprit is magnesium depletion from vitamin D supplementation. How common is magnesium deficiency? The National Health and Nutrition Examination Survey tested over 12,000 American adults. 48% had inadequate magnesium intake, nearly half the population. And that's before adding vitamin D's extra demand. Here's Betty's solution, and it worked within days. I started her on 400 milligrams of magnesium glycinate daily. Glycinate is the form that's best absorbed without causing diarrhea. Within 1 week, her heart palpitations stopped. Within 2 weeks, her leg cramps disappeared. She continued her vitamin D without any problems. The lamp finally had its light bulb. For most adults taking vitamin D, I recommend 300 to 400 milligrams of elemental magnesium daily. Glycinate or malate forms absorb best. Avoid magnesium oxide. It's cheap but poorly absorbed. Mostly just causes digestive upset. Take it with food. Split the dose morning and evening if you're taking over 200 milligrams. Now here's something I don't say often enough. If you're already taking magnesium and vitamin D together, you're ahead of 90% of people. That's worth acknowledging. But number 5 is where things get dangerous. This mistake is literally hardening arteries right now in millions of unsuspecting seniors. Mayo Clinic researchers called it, quote, the calcium paradox, unquote. Number 5. Taking vitamin D without vitamin K2. This is Arthur's story, the patient I mentioned at the beginning, the one with the calcified heart valve. Let me explain exactly what happened inside his body, because understanding this mechanism might save your life. Vitamin D is a gatekeeper. Its job is opening gates and letting calcium into your bloodstream. When you take vitamin D, it goes to your intestines and says, "Open up, let the calcium flood in." And the calcium floods in. Suddenly, your bloodstream is full of calcium, like a crowd of tourists who just got off a bus in a foreign city. They're wandering around looking for somewhere to go. But they don't speak the language. They don't have a map. Your body wants that calcium to go to your bones. That's where it belongs. Your bones are like a parking garage with thousands of empty spaces waiting for calcium to park. But the calcium floating in your blood can't see the garage. It doesn't know where the garage is. So it starts parking illegally, on the street, in the alley, in your arteries, in your heart valves. anywhere there's a surface to stick to. Over months and years, this illegal parking builds up, layer after layer, until your arteries become stiff pipes, until your heart valves become stone doors that won't open. This is what happened to Arthur. 8 years of calcium parking illegally in his cardiovascular system. The Rotterdam Heart Study quantified this precisely. 4,807 participants followed for 10 years. People with the highest vitamin K2 intake had a 52% lower risk of severe arterial calcification. 52%. And a 57% lower risk of dying from heart disease. For every 10 micrograms of K2 consumed daily, coronary heart disease risk dropped 9%. So what does K2 actually do? Think of your bloodstream as a busy city street. Calcium is like cars driving around looking for parking. Without direction, those cars park anywhere. On sidewalks, in fire lanes, blocking driveways, creating chaos. Now imagine a traffic cop standing at every intersection. Whistle in uniform, full authority. When cars approach, the cop blows the whistle and points. You, bone garage. You in the back, bone garage, move it. Every single car gets directed to the correct parking structure. None park on the street. None block the hard highway. Vitamin K2 is that traffic cop. K2 activates a protein called osteocalcin. This protein grabs calcium and escorts it directly to your bones. Like a taxi driver, picking up passengers and delivering them to the correct address. K2 also activates matrix GLA protein, or MGP. This protein works in your arteries. Its job is preventing calcium from depositing there. Like a security guard at the entrance saying, "No parking here. Keep moving. Go to the bones." Without K2, these proteins sit dormant, powerless. Nobody directing traffic. Nobody preventing illegal parking. Here's the problem. Most people over 60 are severely K2 deficient. K2 is found primarily in fermented foods. Natto, a Japanese soybean dish, is the richest source. But almost nobody in Western countries eats natto. K2 is also in grass-fed butter, aged cheeses, egg yolks from pastured chickens. But most grocery store butter comes from grain-fed cows. Almost no K2. Most eggs come from caged chickens on commercial feed. Low K2. Unless you eat fermented foods regularly, you're probably deficient. The solution is simple but critical. Supplement with vitamin K2 in the MK7 form. This is the form found in natto. It has a long half-life, stays active in your bloodstream for hours, continuously directing calcium traffic all day. The dosage supported by research is 100 to 200 micrograms daily. That's micrograms, not milligrams. A very small amount, but critically important. When you add K2 to your vitamin D protocol, you activate those traffic cop proteins. Osteocalcin drives calcium to your bones. MGP sweeps calcium out of your arteries. Arthur didn't have this information. Nobody told him about K2. Now he has an artificial heart valve. But you have the information now. The choice is yours. If you're finding this helpful, tap that subscribe button. I release research breakdowns like this every week. No medical jargon, just clear explanations you can actually use. Number 4 might surprise you. It's so simple most people overlook it completely. Yet it reduces vitamin D absorption by up to 50%. Number 4. Taking vitamin D without dietary fat. Frank Patterson was 68, Vietnam veteran, tough as nails. Took his vitamins every morning with black coffee. For 6 months, his vitamin D level barely budged, went from 22 to 26 nanograms per milliliter. Still deficient despite daily supplementation. His doctor blamed compliance. Frank must be forgetting doses. Frank wasn't forgetting anything. He was taking his supplement exactly as prescribed. The problem? He was taking it with black coffee on an empty stomach. Here's what you need to understand about vitamin D. It's fat-soluble. Oil and water don't mix. When you pour oil into water, it doesn't dissolve. It floats in beads on the surface. Vitamin D behaves the same way in your digestive system. Your gut is like a water slide. Everything you swallow slides down this slippery tube. Water-soluble substances get absorbed easily through the intestinal walls, but fat-soluble vitamins? They can't cross alone. They need a raft to float on. When you eat fat, your intestines form tiny droplets called micelles. These micelles are like little boats. Fat-soluble vitamins hop onto these boats and ride them across the intestinal wall into your bloodstream. Without fat, no boats. Without boats, the vitamins slide right through you and end up in the toilet. Unabsorbed. Wasted. A 2023 study from Tufts University measured this directly. They gave participants vitamin D with different meals. Vitamin D taken with a fat-containing meal showed 87% higher absorption compared to taking it with water alone. 87%! That's nearly double the effectiveness. Same dose. Same supplement. Different absorption based entirely on whether you ate fat with it. I told Frank to change one thing. Take his vitamin D with breakfast, specifically with eggs or yogurt instead of black coffee on an empty stomach. 3 months later, his levels jumped from 26 to 42 nanograms per milliliter. Problem solved. Not because he took more, because what he took actually got absorbed. You don't need much fat, just enough to trigger micelle formation. A tablespoon of olive oil, a handful of nuts, a piece of avocado, a boiled egg, full-fat yogurt, a splash of cream in your coffee, even buttered toast. Anything containing fat helps those fat-soluble vitamins cross from your gut into your bloodstream where they can actually work. This applies to vitamins A, E, and K as well. All fat-soluble. All need fat to absorb properly. Such a simple change. Such a significant impact. Number 3 is where most doctors fail their patients. I'll be honest, I was taught this wrong in medical school. The research has changed dramatically in the past decade. Number 3. Taking vitamin D2 instead of vitamin D3. There are 2 forms of vitamin D available. D2, called ergocalciferol, and D3, called cholecalciferol. They sound similar, both called vitamin D, but they are absolutely not equal. Think about rain gear. Option 1. A heavy-duty raincoat. Waterproof material, sealed seams, tested in storms. You put it on, walk into a thunderstorm, and stay completely dry. Option 2. A raincoat made of paper. Shaped like a coat. Looks like protection. But step into the rain and within seconds, it's soggy, tearing, falling apart. You're soaked. Zero protection. Vitamin D2 is the paper raincoat. Vitamin D3 is the waterproof coat. D3 is the form your skin makes from sunlight. It's the form found in fish and egg yolks. It's what your body recognizes and processes efficiently. D2 is plant-derived. Chemically different. Your body can use it technically, but not efficiently. Slower conversion, shorter duration, less effective. A 2024 meta-analysis published in JAMA Internal Medicine compared D2 and D3 head-to-head. 39 randomized controlled trials, over 47,000 participants. The finding was unambiguous. D3 is 87% more effective at raising blood vitamin D levels, and the active form lasts significantly longer in your system. Better sustained benefit. So why do doctors prescribe D2? 2 reasons. First, it's cheaper. Pharmaceutical companies manufacture D2 inexpensively from plant sources. Insurance companies prefer the cheaper option. Second, medical education is outdated. Doctors learned both forms are equivalent, but the research clearly shows they're not. Margaret Thompson was 70 years old. Her doctor prescribed 50,000 IU of vitamin D2 once weekly, the standard prescription approach. After a year, her levels went from 20 to 25 nanograms per milliliter. Still deficient. Her doctor kept saying she must not be taking it consistently. She was taking it exactly as prescribed. The problem was the form. I switched Margaret to over-the-counter D3. 5,000 IU daily. That's 35,000 IU per week. Less total dose than the prescription D2. 3 months later, her level was 48 nanograms per milliliter. Optimal. Same patient. Lower dose. Dramatically better results. Because D3 actually works. Check your bottle right now. If it says ergocalciferol or D2, throw it away. Buy D3 cholecalciferol instead. It's available over the counter at any pharmacy, less than $10 for a 3-month supply. Don't accept the paper raincoat when the waterproof coat costs the same. Now, number 2 is where I get frustrated, because this mistake is caused by government recommendations that haven't been updated since 2010. 15 years of outdated guidance. Number 2, taking too little vitamin D based on the RDA. The recommended daily allowance for vitamin D is 600 IU for adults up to 70, 800 IU for adults over 70. These numbers are everywhere, on vitamin bottles, repeated by doctors, treated as gospel truth. They're completely inadequate. The RDA was established to prevent rickets, a severe bone disease from extreme deficiency. It's the bare minimum to keep your bones from crumbling. It's not the amount for optimal health, not the amount protecting your heart, immune system, or brain. It's survival-level dosing. Let me give you an analogy. You have an empty swimming pool. You want to fill it with water. Option 1. Turn on the hose, let it run. The pool fills in a few hours. Option 2. Use a teaspoon. Dip into a bucket, walk to the pool, pour, walk back, repeat. Thousands of trips over weeks or months. Technically, mathematically, the teaspoon approach would eventually fill the pool, but it's absurd. Completely impractical. Taking 600 IU of vitamin D to correct a deficiency is the teaspoon approach. Your body uses vitamin D constantly. Every system needs it. If you're starting from a deficient baseline, 600 IU adds almost nothing meaningful. You need a fire hose. Research over the past 15 years is clear. Optimal vitamin D levels for comprehensive health, not just bone health, require blood levels of 40 to 60 nanograms per milliliter. To raise levels from 25 to 50 requires roughly 3,000 to 5,000 IU daily for several months. That's 5 to 8 times the RDA. Is this dangerous? Absolutely not. Your skin makes 10,000 to 25,000 IU after 20 minutes of full-body sun exposure. Your body handles this naturally. Supplementing with 5,000 IU mimics what you'd make if you spent time outdoors without sunscreen. It's replacement dosing, not megadosing. Toxicity requires 10,000 IU or more daily for many months. Even then, it develops gradually and is easily monitored with blood tests. Helen Martinez was 73. Vitamin D level of 18. Severely deficient. Her doctor prescribed 1,000 IU daily. After a year, she'd risen to 24. Still deficient. Still at risk for fractures and immune dysfunction. I increased her dose to 5,000 IU daily, with K2 and magnesium as partner nutrients. 3 months later, her level was 52. Optimal. Protected. Finally getting the benefit she needed. Stop using the teaspoon. Get the fire hose. 3,000 to 5,000 IU daily if you're deficient. Test in 3 months. Adjust based on actual levels. Which brings us to number 1. Honestly, I almost didn't include this one. It seems obvious, but the data shows 94% of vitamin D users make this mistake. And it negates everything else you're doing. Number 1. Taking vitamin D without consistency. The 2024 Vital Study Extension followed over 25,000 participants for 7 years. The largest vitamin D supplementation trial ever conducted. They tracked not just what people took, but how they took it. The finding that surprised everyone? Consistency mattered more than dose. Participants who took moderate doses daily had significantly better outcomes than those who took higher doses sporadically. Here's why this makes biological sense. Vitamin D has a half-life of about 2 weeks. That means half the vitamin D in your blood disappears every 2 weeks. If you take supplements inconsistently, your levels spike and crash like a roller coaster. Your body can't maintain the steady state needed for optimal function. It's like trying to keep a campfire burning. You need steady fuel. A log every few hours keeps the fire going. But dumping 10 logs on Monday, then nothing until Friday? The fire dies between feedings. James Wilson was 69. Software engineer. Brilliant analytical mind. He calculated that taking 5,000 IU every 3 days would be more efficient than daily dosing. Same weekly total with fewer pills to remember. Sounds logical, right? After 6 months, his vitamin D levels were bouncing between 28 and 45, depending on when we tested. His body never reached equilibrium. I convinced him to switch to 2000 IU every single day. Lower individual dose, but consistent delivery. 3 months later, his level was stable at 44. No more roller coaster. Steady protection. Here's how to build consistency that lasts. Attach your vitamin D to an existing habit. Coffee in the morning? Put your supplements next to the coffee maker. Brush your teeth before bed? Put them next to your toothbrush. Use a weekly pill organizer. Sunday evening, fill the boxes for the week. Takes 2 minutes. Eliminates daily decision-making. Set a phone alarm if needed. Same time every day. Non-negotiable. The best supplement protocol in the world means nothing if you only follow it half the time. So let's put this all together. Now, I want to take a moment here. We've covered a lot of ground today. 7 mistakes backed by research from Harvard, Copenhagen, Rotterdam, the NIH. It's a lot to absorb. But here's what I need you to understand. You're not powerless. You're not too late. And you're definitely not alone in this. The fact that you watched this far tells me something important about you. You care about your health. You're willing to learn. You're taking responsibility. That mindset, that's more powerful than any supplement. Remember Arthur from the beginning? The 72-year-old with the calcified heart valve? I got a letter from him 8 months after his surgery. He'd completely rebuilt his supplement protocol. D3 with K2 and magnesium. Taken with breakfast. Tested every 6 months. Levels optimized at 52. His cardiologist was monitoring his remaining heart valves. No new calcification. None. Arthur wrote, and I quote, "I can't undo the damage from 8 years of doing this wrong, but I can make sure the next 8 years are different." That's the spirit. That's what this is about. You don't need to do everything we talked about today. Not all at once. Just start. Here's your action plan. This week, check your vitamin D bottle, D2 or D3. If it's D2, replace it. Next week, add magnesium if you're not already taking it. 300 to 400 milligrams of glycinate or malate. Week 3, add vitamin K2, 100 to 200 micrograms of MK7. Week 4, schedule a 25-hydroxy vitamin D blood test. Know your actual levels, then adjust your dose based on results. Retest in 6 months. Fine-tune from there. Small steps, taken consistently. That's how transformation happens. Before you go, let me tell you what's coming next. Next week, I'm breaking down the 5 morning habits that Harvard says add 7 years to your life expectancy. The research on number 3 will shock you. After that, I'm releasing a deep dive on magnesium deficiency. 12 signs your body is starving for this mineral. Most doctors miss sign number 7 completely. Subscribe and tap the bell so you don't miss these. Drop a comment telling me which of these 7 mistakes you're going to fix first. I read every single comment. Your questions shape future videos. This channel isn't about me talking at you. It's about us learning together. People like you who refuse to accept decline as inevitable. Thanks for investing this time in your health. Knowledge without action is just entertainment. Let's turn this into transformation. Take care of yourself. You deserve it. I'll see you in the next one.